that June, it was the biggest failure. Sponsors dropped me in the morning of the event.
Sure.
It meant bills of close to 300,000 rands were immediately on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I've got a woman that I recently got married to.
Yeah.
I lost a job last year. Gigs are failing this year. So there were a lot of factors. Now, these are triggered moments where your brokenness is being triggered. You're becoming more impatient. You're becoming so frustrated. You don't have time for this marriage. You don't care about it anymore. You need to get money.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us and definitely tuning in and taking your time to watch yet another exciting episode of.
Love, marriage, and family.
And this podcast is really geared towards nation building, towards building healthy relationships, and really ensuring that our families are really in order and we're raising godly families, as well. And today we have got a couple that we love so much, and you're going to get to know them a little bit more. And they have a whole big CV, right? The brother is a radio presenter. Before the show began, he's been talking about editing stuff and so on. And but together with his wife, they are authors of 2 phenomenal books. The Lady of Cause. Her name is Kwanele, and he is Abongile
Mangala. So we welcome the Mangala family. But before we take it to them, we want to thank you guys for our first episode.
Yeah.
What an amazing ride. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the comments and everything else that you have said on that first episode. And it doesn't end there for us. Please ensure that you subscribe. You don't just comment and like and everything else, but make sure that you subscribe so that we can actually grow as a podcast.
Yeah.
Hey?
So we can bring you more of the Mangalas.
And more of these amazing
the
people.
Mangalas. Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, you guys.
The Mangalas.
Welcome to Love, Marriage, and Family.
How is your surname pronounced?
I've been saying Mangala.
Mangala. That's Xhosa. Idea.
Yeah, Mangala.
Mangala. That's how I like
I
Mangala. Wow.
I was Zularized.
Yeah, most but names, but Mangala. No,
Yes,
geez.
there's nothing called
I
Mangala.
thought I was like...
It's Mangala like the Mangala, yes?
Exactly.
Mangala.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs.
Mangala.
Mangala.
No, it's okay.
How are you guys? Welcome, man.
Thanks for having us.
It's so amazing that every person that we meet that interviews one way or the other is long overdue.
Yeah.
And this one is long overdue.
Really long overdue.
We'll get into what I mean by that. But, welcome you guys. It's so good to have you. It's so good to be sitting with you and having this chat. As I said, we should have had this chat like
a while back.
2020.
Yeah.
2021.
But things 2021. But things happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does Mount Fletcher and Bizana, 3 hours apart, cross roads?
How does that happen? Like,
I'm 2013. I'm working in a community radio, Mount Olive.
Yeah.
I'm telling a friend of mine that I've got a feature on Mondays where I interview students who are in tertiary institutions.
oh wow.
But now I don't want normal careers because it was a place where empowering people with my careers.
Yeah.
And I don't want a normal career. I want this as why because disaster radio yasemakhaya.
Yeah.
And students, every time we speak to them, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, it's always there. But I was like, what are other opportunities? And my friend says, I know someone who's studying international marketing management. I'm like, I've never heard of that.
Definitely.
You know, I've had marketing management, international law, undenza ndibe intrigued kancinci. So I said, okay, can you please hook me up with that person? And a friend of mine, a coach, hooked me up. And to cut the
Hooked you
long
up.
story short, got figure this lady at the interview, Mount Elif. I was doing an evening show between 6 and 9.
Yeah.
I still remember I will never forget that moment. I still remember at the reception, Puma Nyumlanda. That and Puma like, yo, okay. Yo.
I've met my match.
Here's what's funny about that moment. I said, yo, if this one, we would have a conversation, I would lead to marriage. It's such a strange thing. But I must say, it was never a style I had in my mind. You don't take a sense of Mutiko, but you don't pay attention.
Gotcha.
You know, but and then I did the interview, had a great conversation with her. I released her, wahamba. But from there, it didn't stop because I think we followed each other on Facebook. Because Facebook day, we followed each other on
Yes.
Facebook. We started communicating with inbox and and she kept, by the way, she kept making sure she catches up and on me as Yonkinto in Zegangam. She was the one always look. She was the one who looking landelela,
That's
tagging
true.
me on posts.
You just met the guy.
Yes, but he was a bit slow. I mean,
Well, some guys are.
at the time I was a varsity student just at Depen. So I mean, he was still in Makaya, and I think he just needed a little push.
Yeah.
So I gave him the push that he needed.
Yeah.
But was the feeling mutual though, like straight out, or was it
Yes,
something
that's
that you felt afterwards?
That's the thing. Immediately when he walked in, like he's explaining, I saw him and I'm like, oh, this guy's cute. And he wasn't even like, when I see the pictures now, I'm like, was that cute? That was
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
no. It was God.
Yeah.
It was God. It was just meant to happen in the lens and yeah, here we are.
2 children later, I believe you guys
Yes.
got 2 daughters.
Two
Yeah,
daughters.
2 daughters.
Yeah.
And what has been the journey like from the moment that you guys met until now? What transpired? How long did it take you to actually formally date, you know?
Okay, so the funny part, something I write in our book, When the Storm is Over, is that when I prayed about my husband, I sort of gave God a timeline. I said, Lord, this is how I'll know when somebody is my husband. I will know him for a period of 3 years, understanding who he is. And then
Yeah.
after the 3-year mark, we should get married.
Oh, wow.
So we met in 2013, got married in 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Got married
Oh,
in
wow.
2017. How long was that? Just 3 years?
That's
Yeah,
4 years.
that's
4 years,
Okay.
4 years,
Wow.
3 years, 4
Yeah.
years. We got married
It's
in
3 years because we met
At
in
the end of the year.
2013 November.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Okay,
the
so
it is
It was 3 years.
Because we got married in 2017 April.
Yes.
Yeah. That's 3 years.
Yeah.
That's 3
Oh,
years.
wow.
And right after marriage, we got pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah.
We lost our first child.
Oh, sorry.
So that is a hectic thing to deal with
Yeah.
in a new marriage.
Yeah.
We lost our first child, and we had Elam in 2018, our firstborn. Right after Elam, I was still on maternity leave. Right after Elam, we separated.
Yeah.
So
So with the marriage in 2017, you had a miscarriage in that same year, was it?
Yes, in that
okay.
same year.
And then in 2018, you had your firstborn.
yes, so I got pregnant towards the end of 2017.
Of 2017,
yeah,
yes.
we got pregnant with our second child,
Yeah,
Elam,
yeah.
who's our firstborn now.
Yeah.
And we separated. Elam, I think she was 1 month old.
She was
1 or 2 months.
She was 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was 1 month.
We'll get to the separation. The issue about, God, you say you gave God some very specific detail,
specific,
and so on. And how does one get to that point where, all right, let me put it this way. How does it feel like when everything sort of works out and you're like, okay, this is exactly what I prayed for. It happened. It's 3
Exactly
years
the way I
and
wanted
and
it,
all
yeah.
of that. How does it? Because frankly, I've never experienced that.
Mm.
You know,
Well-
in terms of that specific,
Yeah.
in terms of the
I think it's two-way, because when you give God a timeline, the downside is that you are so focused on the timeline that if the timeline comes, what matters is this should happen. You're expecting something to happen.
Yeah.
So even when you might not be ready for lento ithandazeleyo, because
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, you gave God a timeline and this was his plan,
Yeah.
but then as a person, I haven't gotten to the point where actually I'm ready for marriage, or my husband is not at a point where he's the
Yes.
person God planned ukuthi abe nguye ngeli xesha.
Yeah.
So we end up just getting married because it just feels like the right thing to do, and this is what I
Yeah.
prayed for. So you pressure yourself into a decision that ngoku ucele uThixo uzifake entweni onganyanzelekanga ungene kuyo, because you
At that
just
time.
you just feel like it has to be this way because this is how I prayed it out to be.
And
So-
also, I think also the danger in that is the fact that your timeline and God's timeline
As fine.
may not be the same.
Yes.
And you could be saying 2 months, and God is saying, actually, you need
years.
a year
Yeah.
or 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's also that downside, to that, where the timelines could not be.
where to God a day is like 1,000 years.
Exactly.
Go.
And also, it's important to note ukuthi putting those timelines in place zivula ithuba for the enemy.
Yes.
uThixo, even if something was meant to be, but uSathana vela isondeze ifike kuwe ngexesha engelilo.
So it's attractive.
It becomes a trap now because it's the right thing but at the wrong time.
At the wrong time.
At the wrong time, because ndivule elithuba lobu uSathane uyakwazi ungena, because obviously I'll think it's God.
Yeah.
Because it's just happening how I wanted it to happen. So
Yo,
kunalo
and,
change.
and getting, as you say, the right thing at the wrong time. Oh my goodness, that is so strong, because sometimes, as you say, you get the right thing at the wrong time and you don't have the tenacity, you don't have the character to maintain it.
Yeah.
When it has happened, because you got the thing at the right, you got the right thing.
Yes.
But the
the
timing
timing,
was not wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what has led to how things would have turned out going to 2018, sorry?
2018. Yeah. You know, like just to add on what my wife just said, I think uSathane specializer when he sees that you are called, when he sees that you are powerful, when he sees that you are anointed, when he sees that there's something special about you,
Yeah.
he specializes ngezinto ezifika before time.
Destruction.
Destruction. You can study a lot of people. You would realize they are great, but they got certain things before time.
Yes.
You know, it's the right thing, but ifika ngexesha ekungelilo. But with us, guys, I'm not used to this. My wife knows. I told her in Zongenap, I love speaking.
Yeah.
But the moment it comes to speaking about us,
I get you.
our
I get
journey.
You. Yeah.
I even struggle, because there are many things, there are many factors, and you struggle to put your hand
pin
into
on
it.
it,
Kuba yilena eyon ayon. But one of the bigger factors for me is that nangawazi umtshato as a man.
Yes.
I didn't know
Which is
married
the biggest
as a man.
problem, I believe.
Nangawazi umtshato as a man. I get my wife saying, you know, one thing that happened is I met a great woman being a broken man.
Yeah.
Right thing at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my wife comes from a background lo muntu usindiswe emncinci. She tells me stories, she writes about it in our book, that at around about 9 years old waseyibeka abantu izandla, ethandazela abantu baphile and all of that. God was already showing her who she will be.
Yes.
And I don't come from that sort of a background where there's an understanding of God. I figured that out diku grade 12.
Along the way, yeah.
Along the way. Do you get what I'm saying? Ukuba ngutata nokuba indoda in terms of a family structure, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Because my parents baxabana when I was only in grade 3. And I saw hatred when it comes to marriage.
Sure.
Literally, I saw my mother hating my father all my life.
Sure.
I saw my father hating my father hating my mother all my life. You understand what I mean? Literally, I've seen izinto ezibuhlungu where I would look and be like, wait, uyenza kanjani lento ku mama wabantwana bakho? Do you get what I'm saying? I saw pain throughout. And you think these things are not doing anything to you.
Yeah.
You
They
honestly
do.
think these things have nothing to do with you, because
Yeah.
I always said, one day I'm going to get married. And the reason is, I don't want my kids to grow up like I did.
Yes.
And not realizing that it doesn't take away you go still okusala yapha endleleni ulimele. You know, and because for me, basic things, guys, basic things like how my wife defines a man
Yeah.
and how I define a man.
Yeah.
Different.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
Because for me, when look at this scenario,
Yeah.
this other time, I say, to me, this is so normal.
Yeah.
So normal at the time. I say to my wife, we had just gotten married. Yes, I think it was like 5 months in.
Yeah.
We got home, went straight to bed, ndalala. She gets home later than me. She gets home and she says, yo, babe, I'm katalanga. Awenzanga na something to eat. Ne? And I'm like, nkatela, ayibo umsebenzi wakho ukupheka.
Yeah.
So your job is to cook.
So when you come home early,
Yeah?
but you don't see reason why you should prepare something
No.
to eat. Instead, you go and rest.
And go and rest. I don't wash dishes so that at least if she's gonna cook,
Yeah.
she finds them clean.
Yeah.
I don't do anything. And she gets home. Guys, at the time, this was so normal.
That's how it's supposed to be.
So normal. Even when I said it, I'm not expecting a fight. I'm not saying it out of no, I'm saying, relax. I'm like, oh, I pay umsebenzi wakho wethu ukupheka.
It's your job to cook.
It's
Yeah.
your job to cook.
Oh my word.
I'm not. You know, this thing sound, especially we generation and
Yeah.
because things are done
I
differently.
get you.
Ingasound ngathi off kakhulu lento ndiyithethayo.
It's not.
But then I said, I realized what it did instantly.
Yes.
Instantly, my wife got so mad. She said, it's my job to cook. I remember her reaction immediately. It's my job to cook.
Like who defined that job?
Wait,
Who came up with that idea?
And then she said, I cook because I love you. Not because it's my job. This thing made me so mad that I was like, wait, why is this so much a big deal?
What am I missing?
Why is Tabana kwenzeka? Listen to the brokenness. I go to a friend. I remember, Salah listen right that night.
Yeah.
The following day, I tell a friend who comes from where I come from, Google background. I say, bro, this is what happened. I'm drawing you a full scenario. I need your help. Was I wrong? You know what he said? Junior Gezel.
See? Normal.
Junior Gezel.
Normal.
Why does she think wena njengendoda uzokwenza into zabafazi?
Yes.
Uyagezela.
Yes.
Ugezisa ukuthi uyasebenza.
Yes.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Now it's
Normal.
planting all these.
Now I'm realizing that
Yeah.
ndiyagezela man bayindlini.
Yeah.
That's normal background. I mean, invezela.
Yes. Yes.
As
This
this
is
guy
not-
is proving to you ukuthi
That there was absolutely
You
nothing.
are
I think also
right.
now sometimes when there's an issue, you're like, maybe I'm wrong. Let me go and find out from a third party to say, this is a scenario. You're also married. Like, hey, ungazodlala umfazi wena.
exactly.
And it was after those times where I realized that at hindsight now, and just before our restoration yomtshato wethu, because there's a lot to tickle on Bonisa, but I don't want to go there first.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
that's why I'm saying I'm answering one question, but
Yeah.
it pecks on a lot of matters.
Yeah.
So I was broken as a man,
Yeah.
and there were many issues. Ezinye, honestly, up until today, my wife knows I'm not even comfortable to even speak about them publicly. I'm not ready. As much as I
Yeah.
know them, she knows them. We
Yeah.
speak about them.
Yeah.
We deal with them. But I'm like, are we a society that is ready to listen to that? If I speak about it, because I've got a fear that I may speak out to help people and then it backfires.
Yeah.
Kuloko kuridwa loo nto, ukuthi, so
Yeah.
it's those issues that I have personally that maybe God will help me at one point. Maybe I'll be ready. The church knows I speak about them in
Yeah,
detail.
yeah.
But in an open space like this, a podcast that has 10,000 people watching, maybe a little bit uncomfortable. But for me, those are the matters. The bigger thing was that I did not know what is a husband.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is such a powerful analysis because I think we've had conversations with Mo where I said, you know, I believe that the biggest challenge of marriage is men are marrying women who have a PhD, but you're marrying someone who only just have a matric certificate, as an example.
Yeah.
So when you get into the marriage, literally you don't understand each other. You get there, someone is talking thesis, and someone is down here, and it's no fault of men though, because men usually will not have people that they look up to. Society does not create platforms, you know, for men to be taught, you know, how to be a husband. It's always women getting ready for
Be a better
marriage,
wife,
women
From
being
childhood.
prepared and all of those things. And it's really no fault of men, but in majority of men, they grow up in that society where they've never been taught. I get married because it's time to get married. But
because
I really
it's
don't
time.
know what I'm expected to do. I get to this thing and I'm like lost, you know. But before we get into that, I want to confirm something for you guys, that there's God in this union of yours. I was meant to have an interview with Kwanele, right? I'm not sure if you remember this. It was probably during COVID, somewhere there, right? I'm meant to have this interview. I've just met this lady and I thought, oh, geez, what an incredible woman. I want to have an interview with her. And obviously the narrative that was out there was this young divorcee, right? So there's a conference and I'm like, I need to meet with her. And you know what happened? That interview didn't happen. So when I heard what you guys were getting back together, I said to Mo, oh my word. Because out of the people that I needed to interview, she was my favorite. I was like, I want to meet with, was it a 22-year-old or 23 at the time? A divorced 22-year-old.
Sure.
I was like, I need to meet with her because I want to understand what her mind set is like. Where is her mind? What is happening? What has caused the divorce? So when you guys got back together, my goodness, I was like, oh gosh, God did not want me to have this interview. Did not want me to have this interview because it was meant to be virtual. And then later I was told, no, we need to record. So everyone needs to be in Joburg. And she was in Durban. Interview never happened.
Sure.
I missed out on an interview, but I realized it was all God's plan. Because we could not push that narrative of being divorced at 22 when God was still working out something in the background.
26.
At 26, yes.
26.
Because for me, I mean, to meet a 26-year-old divorced was like, that is so unusual.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot.
So that was...
Yeah. And so with that, well, I suppose I understand why would a 26-year-old then, you know, be on some, hey, you know, cook. I cook because I love you. You know,
Don't think it's my
don't think it's my job to do so. But I come from the same background. You know what I mean? And like most men, you know, we come from almost similar backgrounds where men, you know, we're supposed to go out, bring home the dough. And then when we get home, you know, somebody else needs to ensure that the home is taken care of. And taking care of the home means everything, domestic, cleaning, food and everything, you know. That's not my part and so on. So I'm saying I identify with what you're saying. However, getting to a point where you guys say, you know what, it's 1 year. I don't think I can. I don't think I can be able to handle this. What gets you into that point where you're like, okay, you know, what is it that has happened that lit the fire?
And I mean, how long were you married before you took a decision to go separate ways?
It was exactly 1 year.
Okay.
It was 1 year and 3 months. We got
3
married
months.
April 2017, separated June,
July.
June,
Did you
July
separate or did you divorce?
2018. We separated.
Okay.
We separated.
Okay.
Oh, you divorced ngendlela yasemakhaya.
Yeah.
Yes.
We separated. Even though we were
Because-
convinced now
because
it will never happen.
Emakhaya, there won't be a
Nah.
divorce certificate
Yeah,
or
no,
anything like
no,
that.
no,
So
no, we don't
we kaya and
Yeah.
go home, and
Yeah.
then the lady stays with her family and whatever. So
Yeah.
all we know is that they are
Yeah.
not together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So there was no actually divorce.
No.
like as in
There was no
divorce.
signing of papers. There
Got
was,
you, got you.
Okay.
But
So it was separation. You can call it that.
Yeah.
Got you. But back to my question then, what is it that
caused-
lit the fire? You know, where you're like, okay, this is it, I'm good.
I think, like we were saying, we dated for a while, right? And then we got married.
Yeah.
So we had a long relationship. And with the relationship, there was a lot that we experienced, a lot of fights, a lot of miscommunications. By the time we got married, already besesi rocky.
Yeah.
You know, there were things that were red flags for either me or him, but we just wanted to go through with the marriage. Go back SCC where we can't date forever. You know, there was that pressure, and him being public in a way. We were always seen together, and we just wanted to stamp land to be official.
Yeah.
We got married, and we lost the baby. So that alone was very heavy on us.
sure.
It was heavy
Can
on us.
imagine, yeah.
And after that, I got pregnant and saba nomntana oqala. And I think just having a baby changes something in you. You know, as a woman, there's a switch nje, that there's certain things I can no longer tolerate now that I'm a mother.
Yeah.
There's a certain environment that I don't want my child to grow up in
Yeah.
now that I'm responsible for another human being.
Yeah.
So I think that reality, and kwela xesha, we were going through a lot in terms of, my husband was busy at my events.
Yeah.
Was busy at my events, and a lot was going wrong in his own little bubble as well.
Yes.
So it is affecting nathi kakhulu. Like he's saying, there's a lot of things that he doesn't want to speak about as well. But it just got to a point where I was home on maternity leave, and I'll say something clicked, and I said to myself, I'm just not going back. I'm not going back.
This is not
Yeah.
for me.
And also to add, we this is a time 2016 ndienda yolobola. Just after Lobola, I lost my gig, which was motivational speaker
I remember.
on Ukhozi FM.
Yes.
And when you lose that, that is where my money was coming from. Because I speak on radio,
Yeah.
I get 50 calls same time.
Yeah.
That's how powerful the station was. Immediately after Ilobola, I lose that opportunity. Now money starts coming in slowly
Yeah.
until it stops.
Yeah.
I forced marriage. And I said, like, if I would speak about the bank balance on our way to the wedding day,
Yeah.
if I would speak about the debt I made on the day before
Preparing
the wedding
for this
day,
wedding.
last minute things, because I'm like, it's already here, let me make this day special.
Yeah.
And forgetting that it's not about these people who are coming to watch you.
yeah.
It's
two of
about
you.
the life you will live,
Yeah.
Nina Noi too.
Yeah.
So that was another big factor for me as a man. It was a mess. I was doing projects, I was doing events. I had a huge thing called Abongile Mangala Youth Celebration.
Yeah.
That year, Yomchato Wetu, we got married in 2017 April.
Sure.
It was done with June 2017. That June, it was the biggest failure. Sponsors dropped me in the morning of the event.
Sure.
It meant bills of close to 300,000 rands were immediately on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I've got a woman that I recently got married to.
Yeah.
I lost a job last year. Gigs are failing this year. So there were a lot of factors. Now, these are triggered moments where your brokenness is being triggered. You're becoming more impatient. You're becoming so frustrated. You don't have time for this marriage. You don't care about it anymore.
Yeah.
You need to get money. By all means, you need to get money, because at the end of the day, akonto izolunga apha endlini if akukho kutya.
Yeah.
So it was another element, and I feel like my wife is kind because of this platform. My wife is kind when she says red flags on both of us.
Yeah.
I will take responsibility and be honest with you. Red flags on me.
Most on you.
Most on me. I'm not gonna paint her as Ingilo and say she's
Yeah.
perfect. But she had errors that can be bearable.
Forgivable errors.
Forgivable errors.
Yeah,
You understand?
yeah.
She had things where I still look back now and still say, I'm blessed that she still decided to get married with me. Do you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there were a lot of red flags. This guy is struggling financially suddenly. This guy has anger issues. This guy doesn't understand the basic needs of a husband.
me as even a wife.
Of me as a wife and all of that. This guy is all about himself. Ukuthi, if things funeka kuhoywe yena all the time. Do you get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I was so lost in the idea yomtshato, you know, and because she's my wife, she'll always try to protect me by all means, and which is okay. But I honestly, really, 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 honestly, think red flags were mostly on me. And here's the sad thing: when you are in space, the public space. Oh, guys, and the public space, the public space,
Yes.
when you have issues to deal with, ungazi issues to deal with, and you become celebrated,
Attention.
that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because even when she says, we need to attend to this, I'm like, who?
Yeah.
Abongile Mangala. I'm saying this respectfully. Now I'm saying this respectfully.
No, I get
But I
you.
was not like that before.
Yeah. Or
Abongile
you would
Mangala.
say differently then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Abongile Mangala,
Yes.
I can't sit with anyone. I can't just sit with anyone. You know that?
Yeah.
Remember, this is a child who got this fame. We're not talking about a matured man.
Yeah.
I didn't meet a fame Dina 29,
No.
Dina 30.
Yeah.
I was 21.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So
Yeah.
with a struggling background where
Yeah.
Ugu celebrator is a big deal. And remember, I come from a childhood where I was never celebrated.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ngicabanga kwabazali ngihlale ne-relatives all my life. I was that child ongekho special ongahoywanga.
Yeah.
Ongazange anikwa attention, ongazange athini because uhlala no-aunt, uhlale no-makhulu,
Banabantwana babo.
uhlala nabantu abanabantwana babo.
Yeah,
Yes, that's the
yeah,
perfect
yeah.
terminology. Uhlala nabantu abanabantwana babo.
Yo.
So you're dealing with all these issues. Now when you get attention, when someone says,
Suddenly.
ndifuna ukuthatha ipicture no-Abongile. When your own people okhule nabo endlini bengazange basibona isidingo sokukuthanda. When you see love outside in abundance,
Yo.
you think you are the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
You think that you are the only thing. Life is centered around you. No one
Yeah.
can tell you nothing. You know, so even she knows, even when we talk about counseling, I say, rather a white guy.
Yeah.
We deal with a white guy doesn't understand black people.
Yeah.
Doesn't understand. Uthi explain a little bit. Agakuva
You want to
lo mntu.
avoid this.
So Zambuti, it's our marriage was broken because I was broken.
Yeah.
Got you.
From the beginning.
When my wife speaks about when she was pregnant, when she had just given birth, we had a strong fight over the phone with a woman who just gave birth.
Sure.
Ophethe umntana wami ehleli kokwabo. Esazibuza ukuthi sophinda kanjani? Sohlala kanjani? Uzotyani lo mntana esiqobo kumzala?
Yes. Yes.
How are things going to work?
Nibangani, what are you fighting about?
This guy, we're fighting about money. We're fighting. I remember the issue was about. Oh, Nkosi yam, we've never had this conversation. You guys are pushing us. We've never spoken about this. This is why I can tell it's heavy for her.
Yeah.
Because we're speaking about selling cars. Because things are not working out. I need to clear debt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Selling your own vehicle.
Yes.
Okay, get you.
And I had my vehicle, she had hers. Mine is on credit, meaning iyabhatalwa.
Yes.
Yes.
Hers is not.
Yeah.
It's fully paid out.
So
fully paid.
le engabhatala sendifuna ukuyithengisa.
Now, she disagrees with us selling her car because we can't sell mine.
Of course, we can't sell yours.
Because mine is not mine. You know, because mine is not mine. Mine is for the bank.
Yeah.
But now, in my mind, I'm like, we won anyway. We can survive with this one
Oh,
car.
now you remember you are one.
You know, we just need to clear this debt and we can start over and move on. And it was a disagreement.
Also, the car was actually my 21st birthday gift
Yeah.
from my family.
Yeah.
So I had a deep attachment to it at the time.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's deep.
So it's a lot of issues. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying something, and namala izuvela ndawo,
Yeah.
and I'm written on social media all over. Ukuthi abongile kolota abantu. I'm sending articles. Ukuthi usephepheni,
Ish.
because I switched off. I was not on social media. I was not on anywhere because I did not know how to cope.
Yeah.
I just need an agent. It's like, do you know a drug addict?
Yeah.
One is those movies, because I've only seen them on movies.
Yeah.
When they just need something to
Fix.
They
Yeah.
need a fix right
it was
now.
like, I just need a quick fix.
Yeah.
I can't walk out. The moment in a shop, kutwa nanku.
Ish.
The moment in because yaziwa lo mntu.
Yeah.
I just need us to do something urgently.
Yeah.
So that as soon as you guys come back, at least kuzobe kuphileka apha endlini.
Yeah.
So
Because-
you were desperate.
Yes, it was a desperate time.
Yeah.
And anything would go at that time, guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anything. At that time, I could sell my soul.
Yeah. Had the opportunity presented
Yeah,
itself.
that time I could sell. I could.
Wow.
If I met a certain person who said, "My guy masegunje, isolution ilena," I would have taken that route,
My
because
word.
it was extreme, guys. I had never dealt with that all my life.
Yeah.
I was an unemployed guy in debt of more than 300,000 rands.
So basically, I call any hope as to how am I going to settle this debt.
All I know in my life is radio,
Yeah.
and no, I call radio khona.
And then the turnaround, because there were red flags and you guys were going through the most and all of that. How did the where did things change? At what point did you say, maybe, let's give this a try? Or maybe even who made the first move? Because one of the things I know,
Yeah.
pride always comes, in the way, always. There are great relationships that could flourish, but people are full of pride. And for that reason, they would rather go separate ways. At what point did things turn around for you? And who was responsible for that?
Well, I think my husband never stopped trying. He never really stopped. As much as we were separated, we did try to fix things. I think it was 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
We did try to fix things, but ndabonba, nothing has really
correct.
changed. Yeah, nothing has really changed. So we went our separate ways. He was seeing people, I was seeing people. We just completely
Openly, though.
openly.
Okay.
We were openly. People knew we were divorced.
Okay.
It was a public. We are separated. We are no
Yeah.
longer together. I'm moving on with my
Okay.
life. He is with his. So I think there was a point where I just immersed myself in God. I just wanted to find myself. Kanti naye, somehow he is working on himself.
Yeah.
He's working on himself. Kwenzeka apho ndanikhonza khona waconnecta nomfundisi wami,
Okay.
and he tried to get his life together, and he wanted to and I think what I saw that inspired me was that he wanted to do it away from the relationship, in isolation. He wanted to fix himself
First.
for him.
Yeah.
For him. And then I think we started to talk, and I started to hear language chinchile, and I started to pray about it.
Yeah.
I prayed about it. God, is this the time? And something just felt different. It felt different. There was peace in my spirit. There's nothing I can pinpoint to say, no, wafika segenza kanje, There was, I had to go on faith. We
Yeah.
walk by faith and not by
Yeah,
sight.
of course.
And in that instance, I had to go on faith and the peace in my heart, the peace of God in my heart, that this is the time.
Who made the first move?
He did.
It was me. I made the first move. I went the fifth, the
100th move.
Yo,
You
it
don't
was-
even know which move it was.
Because I think pride took over after certain attempts, and I was like, okay, what made me stop when we ended up going our separate ways? I started feeling like I was no longer asking for my wife back because of the situation that we were at the time. It started feeling like it's a desperate move
Yeah.
because family was getting involved, both sides. And I started feeling like, okay, I'm being treated like, yeah, sebenzi mntana sekhaya. Awusebenzi.
Yeah. At home.
No. In the uyasebenza umntana
In
sekhaya.
my family.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
Awusebenzi nosebenza for that matter. Okay, I'm just paraphrasing this. It's not a statement as a coach, but
Yeah.
it just nesting things. Where it was fine when I was still dealing with my wife. Ukumncenga, but it got to a point where I'm like, oh, why kungathi ndizama ukucenga indlela yokuphila than ukucenga unkosikazi?
Oh, okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? The moment it felt like, no, ndincenga indlela yokuphila up, ingathi ndincenga indawo yokuhlala than anything.
Ufuni shelter.
Fully shelter. You understand? Because this guy, anyway, Khaled Deben Abanams, without Kwanele, how will he survive? The moment I felt like that, I was like, nope, I need to start over. I've survived before. And that's where pride hit in. Like, no, wait. Why am I sounding like a beggar suddenly? No, that's not me.
Yeah.
That's what broke, for me personally, that's what broke the deal. I was like, nah, she can go her way, I can go mine. And it was difficult, guys. Like I say, it's our first time speaking about this publicly. We really struggle. I personally struggle because it needs elements that broke us during that time. Things that we would say to each other, things I would say to her, because I was sure this would never happen again. To make it worse, now I was publicly in relationships. I was publicly, like, people would see posts, it was clear, like, because I was so angry that I was like, I just want to move on. I just want to move away, as further away from anything that has to do with my wife.
Yeah.
Because of the pain that I was feeling at the time. And the timing of it is what almost made us never to work again. The timing, I mean, and at hindsight, I feel like it's very unfair
Yeah.
on her, because I felt like if Lenda Yenzege did right when it was during my times, of course, FM, when I was still doing well in life, then and she leaves, and Nyani Dimnenga, then she leaves. I felt like then that would be fair. And I felt like I'm left in the dark.
So Ukshia, when
I'm unemployed.
izinto are not going well for
Can't
you.
pay rent. I can't buy a
Yeah.
shoe. I can't buy bread.
Yeah.
I can't do nothing.
Sure.
I need to start from zero. I don't have a home. That's another story for another podcast. I can't go home.
Uhleli kuphi? Where are you staying
You
at
know,
this time?
I stayed in a friend's place, Kwamashu somewhere, in a one cottage room. And after that, a friend of mine spoke to me and said, from Emakaya also, said, there's a guy okuthanda kakhulu man, ose Joburg, ekuthiwa ngu-Onke. Just go to his place, bro, and clear your mind. Ngeke usurvive la, because I was drinking a lot.
Yeah.
My friends would take me simke siye South Beach. There's a place abakuhlala sihleli kuya isithele that where ungekubone abantu abazokwazi.
Yes.
My friends would take me in those places. I would drink my
Sure.
life away. I remember, let me tell you this scenario. When I felt like I've lost it all, Moto Yahamba, lost the car, lost everything, I called a friend of mine. He doesn't mind me sharing this. I called Utina Zungu. And when he answers his phone, I just cried.
Yeah.
And as I cried, I said, ooh. I said, bro, I don't know a way out.
Sure, man.
I really don't know a way out.
Yeah.
This happened, and to him it was new. Guti, we separating. It was new, and I really don't know a way out. I don't even know what I need.
Yeah. But I need something.
Something.
Yeah.
And then he says, hey bro, I don't know. They'll be like, go in 5 minutes.
Sure, man.
Drop the phone. 5 minutes, he calls me and says, can I please have your account number? I send him my account number. Immediately deposits, I think around about 2,000 rands in my account. And I took that money and drank it same time.
Oh, come on.
Because I was so broken that when I say I don't know a way out, I just needed to be away from myself. So I took that money and drank it away. And it was God using DJ Skremeza
Yeah.
when he called me and he just said,
Sure.
he was going through his own things at the time, and he said, kodwa mfethu ngiyamazi mina uNkulunkulu.
Yeah.
uNkulunkulu ngiyamazi,
Yes.
akamncama umuntu.
Ish.
We will come out of this.
Yeah.
And after that, he sends me money. Oh, I told him that I'm thinking of going to Joburg. He says, bro, just leave, because I had opened up about the drinking, the sudden drinking that I had started.
Yeah.
Took Ilendozeni, we went to, I got in a bus. He gave me money, and I think you had deposited about 4,000 or something.
I hope you didn't drink that one.
No, I didn't drink.
Because, like, seriously now.
No, I didn't drink that. So I got in a bus. I got in a bus and went to Joburg. Met to Budonke, the other gentleman told me about.
Yeah. Your number one.
I lied to him, by the way, and I said I got a job in Joburg.
Yeah.
I need a place to stay for a month.
Oh, yes.
So that I can get
So that
accommodation.
he can allow you to come.
Gave
Yeah.
him accommodation, and I told him just a week later the truth. And he said, my guy, this is your home. Stay until you are ready.
Manje mungavuki emsebenzini ekuseni uthini? What's going on?
That's why I had to confess. Because in a week later, I confessed and told him the whole story. And that this is your home. For me, that was the turning point.
Yes.
That was the turning point because I started being sober. That's one gentleman who was honest with me that I was the problem. It was the first time hearing, as broken as I am, that someone would still say,
You are a problem.
when I'm saying my wife did this, my wife unshiye nsenyanyeni, unshiye nganje, I hate her. And it was Upud Onke who said
Sure.
any woman would leave.
Sometimes you need people to tell you the truth.
And it was him. He said, any woman would have left.
Yeah.
And my mentor, Babus Fanyetso, said, no matter how you try to explain it, I don't see a woman who would have stayed.
Sure.
That was my turning point. That was when I said, I need to work on myself. Not for her, because at the time she's no longer in the picture.
Yeah.
For the next woman I'm going to meet,
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
Because now when I open up to people, they keep saying I'm the one who's the problem. So for me, as my wife speaks about the turning point, and for me, the turning point was there. The turning point was me sorting out myself, for my kids, for the next woman I'm going to meet.
Yeah.
Not knowing that God is fixing me.
Wow.
Man.
and this is the thing, right? Often, as you were saying, it had to take you getting to a certain point
Yeah.
for you to make that turnaround.
Yeah.
And all this time, she is somewhere sitting on the sidelines because I imagine, as you said, you had moved on with your life, and you are living your life your own ways, individually, and so on. And there's a point where he comes back, and then you are like, okay, now is the time. Where is that point?
I think what kept communication open was that we had a child together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would have to speak, we would have to meet for him to see our child. So Slogos Dibana, and he keeps making these advances. So Guti, hey, we are such a beautiful family. Those small things, and at the time.
Yeah.
At the time.
What do you mean at the time?
No,
No, compared to the
you
first
mean
day,
from the first-
from the first
No,
day
from
in
the
2013.
time when we separated,
Yeah.
when he moved to Joburg and Seslogos Dibana, his life was much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he was coming with cars, Ngazo Dibana Nam, Ezobonumdana, so he looked like he's okay. I mean, and also social media. The social media, bembonisa ngathi he's doing well at the time.
Yeah.
So I think the feelings they just happened to come back. They would come back as we interacted, and as I just ndimbonba umtonjani at the time, and then
Oh, that's cool. And then in terms of because Pindi mentioned, and I think you also mentioned a very important word called pride. You know, and the Bible says it goes before a fall.
Yeah.
Pride is one of the is one of the silent killers.
Yeah.
You know, of very healthy relationships, very healthy, you know, families and marriages, because sometimes pride causes you not to ask for what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because you say,
Powerful.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, I
And
can
yet you're
handle
not.
it.
Yeah.
And everybody can see you are not good, you know, but when you are at that point where you're saying, I'm good and all of that, and because of pride, it creates that wall. And there's got to be something that, as Obodlo was a little donga, you know,
Yeah.
this wall, and breaks this
Oh,
wall
yeah.
of pride so that I'm able to be vulnerable again.
Yeah.
I'm able not to, you know, cage myself.
Yeah.
You know, and the problem about walls that we often build is that we build walls to protect ourselves,
Yeah.
right? But what we don't realize is that not only can people not come in to hurt me,
Yeah.
but I can also not get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a crazy.
You know, and so with walls, that's the problem. You know,
Yeah.
when we build, and the issue about pride, it's a wall.
Yeah.
And we put ourselves in that wall, and we don't allow people in, but we also
Cannot come out.
cannot come
Yeah.
out. You know, and also it has to take something for that pride to be broken, and then so that I can be vulnerable again. For you, it was with Ubud Onke.
Yeah.
You know, when you sat down and said, actually, the truth is,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not working. I'm not here because I'm working or anything like that. This is the situation.
Yeah.
When he actually said, you know what, this is your home.
Yeah, 100%. And I also wanted to add that it also calls for you being intentional about breaking the wall. Because for me, what I find in that, even sometimes when you want to get out, have you ever been in a situation where you have so much pride that you actually want to get out?
Yeah.
You are tired of the
But you stop
solitude.
yourself, you're like, no, not today. Maybe let me try tomorrow and get
Yeah.
out. And I think for me, that's the most, you know, crazy thing about pride. Because sometimes even when you want to get out, now you're tired of having the pride, but you also don't have the energy or the ability somehow. You stop yourself somehow from actually saying, I want to step out of this. And it so happens with pride that sometimes you want to get out of it. I don't believe that everyone who has pride, they don't get to a point where they say, actually,
Yeah.
I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
They do. But pride becomes so strong that it even stops you
Yes.
from getting out of pride because
That's where the fall is, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
That's where the fall is, because you think you are good, you know, when you are actually not good.
You're not good at all.
And before you know it, you have actually, to use a term, dilapidated.
Yeah.
You know, you have deteriorated, and you have gotten,
Yeah.
you know, to levels that ordinarily, you know, you wouldn't be in. And that's why I classify it as a silent killer.
Yeah.
You know, because I guess what we want to get at, you know, with this is to get to a place of forgiveness, to get to a place of reconciliation, to get to it, because that's where pride,
Starting over.
that's where pride is destroyed. That's where
Yeah.
pride is broken, to that point where you are saying, okay, I'm ready to, you know,
humble myself.
humble myself. That's the opposite of pride. I'm ready to humble myself. I'm ready to take us there, you know, to that point.
I think for me, it took a lot of heartbreak during our separation. It took relationships that were completely toxic, relationships that were out of character, like you're saying, Uguti, you get to a place where you're like, but this is not me. Like, nditreatwe in a way where I'm like, is this really ukwanele? Because I'm now a divorcee, I'm a single mother, and that is how men see me. And they don't see a prize like I'm expecting them to.
Yeah.
And the
That is
dating
so
world
powerful.
is so cruel that even in the church,
Yeah.
I remember I was doing this seminar with a bunch of people, and it was a youth seminar. The men are saying, yo, mna ndimfuna baby mama. I would never marry a divorcee. This is in the church. And you realize, I don't have a place here.
And you're sitting there and you're hearing.
I'm hearing these things. I'm like,
Part
these
of one
people,
of the speakers of the
one
same
of the speakers.
platform.
I'm like, this person invited me to come and speak, and you have the audacity to say these things to me. So these things are breaking me, and like I'm saying, I'm now doing things, getting into relationships that I know I shouldn't be getting into, and the pride breaks. You know, it was easy for me. Like my husband's sharing, he was going through a financial setback. I come from a well-off family. When we broke up, for example, my sister had just bought a house in Mhlanga.
Yeah.
So immediately I moved in with her. Another sister of mine sent 10,000 to be like, start over, see what you're going to do with this, you know.
Yeah.
Money was not an issue. Immediately after we separated, I let go of my car. I
On
put
your
it,
own now?
Yeah, on my own.
Okay.
I was like, I don't
Without
like...
being pushed?
Yes. I didn't want the memories attached to it.
Yeah.
I bought a new car. I know my husband saw it on social media and it hurt him a lot because I flaunted the car like new me. I bought a car, so it looked like I'm doing so well without him. But the wellness financially, I was still so broken inside. And I was continuing to break by these sad relationships that I was getting myself into. And I think when he came back, I was like, I actually, you know, as much as we went through a lot, but I remember my husband, when he first saw me, he thought Nwaseb Kosini because of the value he saw in me.
Oh, wow.
And no one was ever going to see me like that again.
No, I love that.
Oh, wow.
So
That is so powerful, man.
it was worth fighting for,
Yeah.
to be seen like that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Come here.
Oh, wow. You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
and also just
You're
to
gonna
add
make me cry now.
just to add on what my wife is saying, it's okay, but just to add on what my wife is saying, it's I think we are siafana when it comes to you know there's a scripture that's very personal to me.
Yeah.
Where Paul ube kalange liver praying for it 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And God says, my strength works best in your weakness.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's made
yes.
perfect.
I need you to be weak. I need you to be
Yeah.
defeated. And I don't need your strength. And
Yeah.
I've kept Elo liver so that you will remain humble. That's what happened to both of us. Even to myself. That's why I was down and out, and I started picking myself through Christ and building every block and valuing every block of character and personality and creating integrity and realizing what a man is, surrounding myself with great men. I took full responsibility of marriage. And the moment I could tell that we're going to get back together, I was like, oh, now I see what God was doing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lie, even though a lot of people were confused, because I kept it private into my conversation and jalo, because I knew like, and I've painted her as this evil woman.
Oh, because your family is
Yeah, my family, my friends, and everywhere.
Lord of mercy, yeah.
So this woman is so evil that there's no I'm going to tell people that
I'm going back to
her. And I had worked on myself so much that when I could tell, I had no fear this time.
Yeah.
Because you knew
I was
where you
so
were coming
scared
from.
when we got married initially, but I kept it from her. But this time, I was like, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I was at peace. And also, just to give context, the pastor that was my wife's pastor, I had met him first because when we were dealing with issues zomtshato wethu. Sisatshadile.
Yes, yes.
But ndahamba mna after that.
Okay.
And then she remained in that church.
Yeah.
And she started building. So it was the only comfortable person I knew. But okay, I can go to this person because does from childhood, does from not childhood per se, but does from my background. Because it's always we live in a time that's difficult, that everyone wants something for them, even men of God.
Yeah.
That if umo unengxaki kunomuntu ocelebrate ukuthi yo umo mkhulu I will squeeze this moment by all means to benefit me as a man of God.
Yeah.
And I'm not just assuming by this, it had happened to me before.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
That my vulnerability was used to benefit the man of God. Babukeke kakuhle yena. That I was careful where to go now.
Yeah.
So I went back to him because of that reason. And
Good man.
when we spoke to him, when I started, he could tell where I am. And you could tell that this guy, guys, you know, when I say to my wife, I always say to her, the best thing that ever happened to us was separating.
Yeah.
That was the best. Like, it's so strange how it symbolizes in our lives in many factors. We in 2022, 2021, indlu yasekhaya we build indlu yasekhaya after years siqala ukuba nekhaya from my home. Yawa kwaphuma iroof yonke yaphakama yahamba and we see later xa ibuyiselwa together ukuthi the best thing that ever happened was the storm that took it away.
Yeah.
Because the errors that were done, we were going to die kuyo ngaphakathi.
Sure.
And I shared that to her and I said,
Yeah.
you see, that is what our marriage was doing. The
Hey,
best
guys,
thing that
yeah.
happened was ukuthi mayiveliwe le ndlu.
So
So that
that
izoqalelwa
we
phansi.
and also have a better foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
do you know that even for a proper home to stand,
Yeah.
sometimes if your foundation is not right, it's a great thing to do to just demolish the whole home.
Yeah.
And no matter how beautiful it is.
No matter how beautiful it is.
Yep.
It might even look beautiful on the outside.
Yeah.
But if the foundation of that home is
Yeah.
not right,
Yeah.
you better let go of it
Yeah.
so that you can start and have a sort of a better foundation.
Yeah.
You know,
It's yeah.
you just reminded me. We there was a point where we lost everything,
Sure.
like literally. And funny enough, this was in 2016, between 2016 and 2017.
Yeah.
We had to start from scratch. We had to literally build from scratch. But the appreciation for me there was we learned to appreciate everything that we have. But it actually took us losing
Yeah.
everything and having, because before we never appreciated everything
We
that
never.
we had.
Yeah.
No, we
we
never.
thought, it's okay. For you to have multiple cars, it's normal.
It's normal.
You know, for you to have a home.
Can I just say this, babe? When somebody would ask for a 500 rands, you know, we would look at that
we
person
never
funny.
understood. Like, seriously. and there was and I was guilty of that. There
You
was a
know,
point
we would
where
look
I
at the
would even
person
ask
funny.
more.
You know, I mean, big,
So and so, ask for
big,
500.
well-known
How is that
people.
even possible?
Well-known
Give you
people.
500,
They were
why?
like, "Hey, man, I'm like,
I
come
mean,
on.
at one point, Mo met with this celeb that I won't obviously mention.
Yes, yes.
And the guy called and said, "My brother, please, I need 500 rands. Can you meet me at KFC just for 500 rands?" When he came back, we actually had a talk about that to say, 500 rands?
It didn't make
what
sense.
kind of human being doesn't have 500 rands with them?
Like, why? You know,
Guys, we learned.
The point is,
Yeah.
when you are comfortable and too comfortable to a point of being detached from reality,
Yeah.
you know, life has a way
Sure.
of really bringing you down to earth so that you are able to look at things with different lenses. And we're going to run out of time very soon. And on that point, you guys transitioned from obviously that process of getting together and so on. And something awesome came out, you know, of that, of the many things that have come out when the storm is over.
Sure.
Because, I mean, that was a storm that
When
you
the
guys
storm is over.
When the storm is over. Talk to us about not just the making of that book, but really, you know, the motivation behind and what is it that you seek to, for the reader to get out of the book.
It was being driven.
Yeah.
After seeing what happened. You know, you just spoke now, guys, about gratitude.
Yeah.
It's our lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think I'm extreme about it. Guys, I celebrate things that should be mine or that are mine. I don't want to assume I deserve anything.
Yeah.
God has opened my eyes so much that there is nothing I'm entitled to. Even
Yeah.
a job, even an opportunity, even 300 rands at the bank. I just needed to add that because it's our motto, it's our lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah.
We celebrate having kids going to our favorite schools.
Yeah.
Having them to eat what they want. Every little thing. When they say Tata Stolugenda Wenetile and we can go.
And you can make it happen.
Yeah.
That's for us, that is our motto.
Yeah.
But the book was about us seeing what God has done.
Yeah.
It is a testimony. It is a testimony of a rare experience. I saw my father attempting ukubuyelana nonkosikazi wakhe, which is my mother. I saw him wade wayolala engcwabeni zange yenzeke loo nto leyo.
Yeah.
So I know that it is not a joke. So it comes from the same point of gratitude to say, I know it did not happen that because sifanele okanye singcono.
Yeah.
I know people who call me Papa until this day. I sit meetings with people who say, ndifuna unkosikazi wami. Akwenzeki. When we announced into yethu ukuthi we are getting back together,
Yeah.
people who were comfortable to talk to me about their partners were suddenly comfortable to inbox me and say, actually,
I'm in the same.
siyamfuna back.
Yes.
Because andithi mos, usathana wenza ntoni xa nikwi-separation, and I pray people don't take offense about this.
Yeah.
Xa nikwinto ethile your brokenness nonke, you become this group of broken people
Okay.
that
So you can feed off each other.
Yes.
that accept brokenness
Yes.
and feed off each other of
Yeah.
this brokenness.
Yes.
My shock was finding people I value coming back to me to say, I actually want my wife back.
Yeah.
Wait.
thought-
We agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you understand? In our brokenness, we agreed this is not going to work. So
Yeah.
for me, that was a confirmation that this testimony had to be shared.
wow.
It is our testimony. It is my wife speaking a voice. It is me speaking my voice. It is us saying, this is what God can do.
Yeah.
This is what God can do. Because honestly, it is God's doing.
It can only
Can you
be,
pass me those
It can
books?
only be God's doing, guys.
Both of them.
I think for me that's my take. You know,
Yeah.
the fact that if you allow God
Yeah.
to do what He wants to do,
Yeah.
because you both wanted to separate, that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
But you allowed God to order your steps.
Yeah.
You know, in a way, and this is so amazing. What a beautiful
Wow.
journey.
Thank you so much, guys. This is an absolutely awesome conversation. And thank you so much for being vulnerable with us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for trusting us with.
Thanks
a lot
to
of
you guys
sensitive
for a
information.
platform that allows us to be.
I really hope people are inspired.
Yeah.
I've never cried before.
Come on now.
And this is the
Heard you
copy.
cry.
This is the copy of the book, When the
Yes.
Storm is Over.
Yeah.
A story of victory over defeat. It's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And then the
Vows
second,
broken too soon.
the second
That's the
book.
first one.
Oh, this
Vows
is the
broken too soon.
We have this one.
Yeah.
Oh, so this came after this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
vows broken too soon. If you want a copy of the books, we're gonna include their contacts below. Please subscribe, please like, please comment, and we hope that you enjoy this episode.
Yeah.
And with the mangalas.
Yes.
Mangala. Thank you so much, guys. What an
Thank you.
inspiration. I'm certain that whoever is watching this episode is really inspired.
Yeah.
Because for me, this is a story of hope, you
Yeah.
know, to say, yeah, God can restore, guys.
Yeah.
God can bring it all together.
Yeah.
The fact that you have gone separate ways, it doesn't mean God doesn't have the ability,
Yeah.
you know, to bring things together. And this is exactly what God has done with you. We are so inspired.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This
for
is
watching.
Love, Marriage, and Family Podcast. Till we meet again next time. Thank you.
Goodbye.